I watched 72 different anime in 2023, which means that I need to get a life and look for more hobbies. Seriously though, I watched a ton of different anime this year, with most of them being 12 episodes in length. I've experienced a plethora of different emotions while watching these various anime. I've laughed, I've cried, I've been blown away by some underrated gems, and I've been underwhelmed by others. I've seen a man turn into a dog, a vending machine pull more bitches than I ever could, and the animation budget hit its limit before my eyes. I've enjoyed watching my fair share of anime this year, but I've also asked the question, why am I still watching this garbage from time to time? So in this video, I want to go over the 10 best anime I watched in 2023. This list includes non-seasonal stuff as well, shows that didn't necessarily air in 2023. To further break it down, of the 72 anime I watched, 32 of them were seasonal ones that aired during 2023. Right now on screen is the comprehensive list of what I've watched. Pause if you're interested in their ratings. I've color coded them so you can see rough estimates of what I gave them rating wise. Anything in red is a 4 or worse, anything in orange is in the 5 to 7s range, and finally green is an 8 or higher. Before the top 10, I want to provide some honorable mentions that were great but just barely miss out on the cut. First one up, Overlord. This is the entire series thus far, including all 4 seasons of it. I love how Overlord is able to balance so many different storylines and characters while making each of them interesting. It does a great job balancing them all. My favorite character is the main one. Overall, Overlord gets an 8.25 out of 10 for me. Next up, Decadence. I went in with modest expectations and this anime blew me away. It is set in the future where humanity is struggling to survive on board a moving fortress. But the world isn't exactly what it seems. It's an anime original that I consider a hidden gem, and I highly recommend watching it. I ended up making a full review on it. If you're interested in it, there's a link in the description. I give Decadence an 8 out of 10. And finally, Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village Arc. The third Demon Slayer season is the worst installment thus far, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It still has what you expect from the series. Fantastic animation and fight scenes as a whole. The demons, unlike past iterations, weren't nearly as interesting or fleshed out. I did like Genya's backstory, and the Infinity Castle scene was amazing. Season 3 gets an 8.25 out of 10. Now onto the top 10. I'll be presenting them in descending order from 10 to 1. Of the 10 anime, 5 of them are seasonal ones. At the number 10 spot for best anime I watched in 2023 is Mob Psycho 100 Season 3. Mob's story is finally complete. Shigeo, or Mob, is the focus this season. Mob is finally able to see himself in a different light thanks to the friends he has made along the way and the previous buildup of the past 2 seasons. This season, Mob, with help from Dimple, deals with the Psycho Helmet cult, and then Mob is finally able to deal with years of repressed emotions and his psychic powers. He has grown immensely throughout the series as he learned how to be a better person and is now able to control his emotions, ultimately finding a great balance within his life. Seeing just how much he has changed and grown from season 1 is fantastic. Mob Psycho does a great job wrapping up so many different characters' development and stories, with the most important being Mob's. If you ever bring up Mob Psycho, you have to talk about the animation and art, which is absolutely stunning, and season 3 is no exception. Although my favorite character Reagan takes a more reserved role this season, every time he was shown throughout it, there was a fantastic moment being showcased. Throughout season 3, you could expect a great laugh and heartwarming moments at any time. A great wrap up to a great show. I give Mob Psycho season 3 an 8.5 out of 10. My 9th favorite anime that I watched in 2023 is Heavenly Delusion. It is one of the contenders for the best anime of 2023, and rightfully so. I love a good post-apocalyptic setting piece of media. Fallout, Metro, Death Stranding, Resistance, you name it, I probably love it. There's just something about the survival aspect and trying to find hope in a dark world that intrigues me. A world devoid of ethics and morality, seeing the worst in humanity, since a person's number one instinct, survival, trumps all. Civilization is struggling after an event known as the Collapse. Monsters known as man-eaters roam the lands. 2 survivors, Kiriko and Maru, are on a mission, trying to find 2 different things. Kiriko is looking for 2 different people, while Maru is looking for a place referred to as heaven. Both characters have 0 leads, so their missions are very difficult. Kiriko and Maru are a great duo. They are formidable combat-wise, each making up for what the other lacks in. Meanwhile, in normal conversation, they have a solid bond, understanding one another and are able to easily bounce jokes off of one another. They travel throughout the world, experiencing society's fallout, having to deal with other survivors, some being bandits, and also monsters. They get to experience other people's stories of struggling while trying to survive. The story is a mixture of past and present, the present being Kiriko and Haru's journey, the past showcasing Takahara Academy and several of its gifted children. The most important child being Tokyo and her story, which serves as much of the mystery. These kids live in a high-tech facility isolated from the outside world that definitely appears to be heaven-like. It definitely seems like this academy is responsible for the downfall of civilization, but how so exactly? I'd also say that the weakest part of this story was the heaven storyline. At times it was a bit forgettable, especially early on. The handling of past and present storylines could have been executed a bit better in my opinion. It includes some very dark moments and superb animation. I give Heavenly Delusion an 8.5 out of 10. In 8th place for my top 10 anime of 2023 is Bungo Stray Dogs, which had 2 new seasons this year. Bungo Stray Dogs seasons 4 and 5 were filled with high stakes moments, twists, and very entertaining sequences. The Decay of Angels are coming out in full force as they put the armed detective agency in a vice grip. The agency members are constantly on the run, having to act on whatever the Decay of Angels are doing. It's made even worse when the hunting dogs, a group of elite ability users, are also on the agency's trail. Both seasons 4 and 5 don't focus as much on Dazai and Atsushi, 2 characters that usually dominate screen time, resulting in a more balanced and enjoyable show. That's not to say I didn't like previous seasons, it's just nice to see other characters be in the spotlight, especially since Bungo Stray Dogs has so many interesting and unique characters. With Season 4 especially, many of the characters are more fleshed out, specifically Rampo and Akiko, 2 of my favorites within the series. Season 5 is filled with mind games and 1v1s. Rampo vs Fukichi, Dazai vs Fyodor, and even Fukichi vs Fukuzawa, to name a few. Both seasons 4 and 5 have great fight scenes, as well as mind games that leave you gripping the edge of your seat, wanting more. Fukichi reveals his true goal, one that doesn't actually seem so evil. He wants to stop a global war from happening, which spells trouble for the future of the series. Speaking of trouble for the future of the series, I'm a bit worried for Bungo Stray Dogs' future. I'm conflicted from what I was shown at the very end of Season 5. The future interests me, but I feel like the direction in which Bungo Stray Dogs is now going, it's not going to be anywhere near as good as what I am accustomed to seeing from this fantastic series. Only time will tell when it releases and I'm able to watch it. Seasons 4 and 5 of Bungo Stray Dogs get an 8.75 out of 10 from me. Coming in at 7th place for best anime I watched in 2023 is Kaguya-Sama Love is War Season 3. I was behind on it, but expected great things from this season because the hype for it was massive. At one point, it was the highest rated thing on my anime list. Obviously, seeing it in my top 10 proves that it lived up to that hype. This season delivers, finally hitting the boiling point of love between Kaguya and Shirogane. Their time together in high school is nearing its end. Kaguya and Shirogane thought they had all the time in the world, but now must act. There are still mind games between the lovebirds, but those games also include very important developments. Not only is there character development with Kaguya and Shirogane, there's also with the side characters Ishigami, Ino, and Hayasaka, as well as many others. The first half of Season 3 was good, but I felt like it was easily the weakest part of the series thus far. It wasn't as entertaining or funny as I'm accustomed to seeing from Kaguya-Sama. It just felt off. This lack of humor left Ishigami having to carry in that department. I do want to point out that Kaguya-Sama delivers once again with the creation of another great song at the end of Episode 5, My Nonfiction. Season 3 may not have started well, but once the Culture Festival started was when the Kaguya-Sama I knew and loved returned. It was great to watch, funny, and probably the best arc thus far, one that I'd give a 10 out of 10 for. Since the first half of the show was nowhere near as good as I'm accustomed to seeing from the series, the rating for Kaguya-Sama Love is War Season 3 comes out to a 9 out of 10. The 6th best anime I watched in 2023 is Bocchi the Rock, a show that took the anime world by storm. It's about a young girl suffering from social anxiety who wants to make friends and perform in a band. Hitori, better known as Bocchi, starts slowly changing, able to check off various things she always wanted to do. She not only joins Kisoku band, but also becomes friends with the other members, Ryo, Nijika, and Kita. Bocchi the Rock is easily among the funniest anime I've watched. The wacky and random moments make it unpredictable where the comedy will come from. Throughout the show, the band not only gets closer, but they also get a better understanding of each other, understanding how each other feel without having to communicate it. But what makes Bocchi such a great watch is the relatability of the characters within it, making it easier and more fun to watch. No matter who you are, you can relate to at least one of the characters within Kasoku Band. Two of the characters are examples of being introverted, Bocchi and Ryo, with Bocchi being the extreme version of it. The other two girls, Kita and Nijika, are examples of extroversion, with Kita being the extreme. The four band members' different personalities help the comedy aspect as well, bouncing joke after joke off of one another, since they have such great chemistry. Not only are their personalities relatable, their goals are wanting to become better versions of themselves as they strive towards their dreams. In order to achieve your dreams, you need to escape your comfort zone, and this anime encourages you to do so. It also showcases that change is a gradual thing you need to work at. It's not something that will immediately become noticeable or life-altering. Bocchi the Rock is the first anime I watched in 2023, and it is among the best. Animation-wise, it's extremely creative and almost never fails to make me laugh. I give Bocchi the Rock a 9 out of 10. Now we are into the top 5 anime I watched in 2023. At number 5, I have Vinland Saga Season 2. Going into Season 2, I was a bit worried that I wouldn't enjoy Vinland Saga as much, especially since my favorite character, Askeladd, is gone and I didn't like Thorfinn in Season 1. Clearly, I was worried for no reason. Thorfinn's maturation and growth throughout the season was fantastic, as Thorfinn earned my respect. Vinland Saga Season 2 felt like a completely new anime, because it essentially is, doing a complete 180. If you're expecting even more fighting, gore, and bloodshed, there's some, but that isn't the focus here. This season is a far cry from the rage, anger, and brutality of Season 1. Season 2 is filled with drama and emotional moments that are just fantastic. Thorfinn is starting his life over now, working as a slave on a farm, still being haunted by the atrocities he committed in his youth. He's even haunted in his dreams. Thus far, Canute and Thorfinn are having completely opposite journeys, but ultimately want to achieve the same thing. Thorfinn goes from an angry, violent young man to one who wants to rid the world of war and create lasting peace. Canute started off as a young man opposed to conflict himself, but is now a changed man after seeing the horrors of war. Might makes right. He now believes war is the only way to achieve peace. Canute is starting to resemble his father a bit. Both of these characters prove that no matter who you are and where you are in your life, you can change. Yes, the pacing of Season 2 was ridiculously slow at times, but it is fitting for the nature of this season. I give Vinland Saga Season 2 a 9.25 out of 10. Before I really started grinding anime, there was one genre specifically that I thought I was not going to enjoy: mecha. I stayed away from the genre, not really wanting to watch anything from it, simply because I thought it was not going to be interesting. Fast forward a couple years, and now I have 2 different mecha series in my top 10. Coming in at the 4th best show I watched in 2023, and a series that is in my top 10 of all time, 86. When I talk about 86, it includes parts 1 and 2, 23 episodes in total. Right away, I was blown away by 86. A military science fiction with fantastic writing, characters, and action. A war without casualties led by unmanned drones is being conducted between 2 neighboring countries, the Republic of San Magnolia and the Empire of Giad. The general public believes only machines are fighting, but in the case of San Magnolia, humans are piloting the mechs, with each person in them being designated as 86. Discrimination is massive here. Anybody not considered an Alba is considered inferior, are set up in internment camps, and are forced to fight. Their lives mean nothing. The general public is unaware of this, and everyone who does know doesn't care. Well, at least most people. You follow 2 different characters: Shin, one of the 86, and Lena, one of the few people who actually care about them. Lena commands over a squadron of 86, slowly watching their numbers deplete. The ending of part 2 left me in tears. I can go through every aspect within 86, stating that it's so well done. The storytelling is done extremely well through a combination of showing and telling. The dynamic between Lena and Shin was brilliant, with each character almost immediately becoming my favorite characters in all of anime. Switching back and forth between Shin and Lena's point of view, also great. The world building, especially in part 1, phenomenal. Seeing Shin and Lena's struggles again, great. Now you might be wondering, if I have such high praise for this series, how is it only at number 4 for the year? I gave a perfect score for part 1 of 86, but part 2 felt a bit off for me. I plan on rewatching it and seeing if my rating is a bit harsh, but my gut is telling me it's not deserving of a 10 out of 10 just yet. For now, I give 86 a combined score of 9.5 out of 10. The last 3 anime in this video I gave a perfect 10 out of 10 for. So first up, the third best anime I watched in 2023, and the best anime movie you probably haven't watched is Pompo the Cinephile. This movie showcases movie magic. It follows an aspiring film director, Gene. He, an assistant, is handed an ambitious project from a very talented movie producer, Pompo, and is given free rein to do what he wants with it. The catch is that he not only directs the film, but is also editing the final product. There's a massive weight on his shoulders, since the success of this movie lies squarely on him. He has been set up with the best of the best. The film being made, called Meister, is about the life of a musical composer and his highs and lows within his life. Right away, despite Gene's lack of experience, you understand why Pompo picked him. He has an eye for detail, and she knows he will do her work justice. Gene throws himself into his work, wanting it to be perfect, and is quickly met with an overwhelming workload and a tight deadline that must be met. As a viewer, you get to see how a movie is made and how it comes to life. It's kind of like Movieception, a movie within a movie. The scenes within Meister correlate to how various characters are feeling within the world of Pompo the Cinephile. The movie tackles what it takes to achieve your dreams. It urges people to keep on dreaming and pursue their passions. Sacrifices are necessary, but don't go overboard with them. Otherwise, you can suffer like the composer within Meister does. It tells you to take the risk despite the possibility of failure. Strive to be better as you adapt to and overcome obstacles along the way. I give Pompo the Cinephile a perfect score of a 10 out of 10. In the number 2 spot for best anime I watched in 2023 is Dr. Stone Season 3, but only Part 1, since I've yet to watch Part 2. Dr. Stone is among my favorite anime, so I have absolutely no doubt in Part 2 meeting my expectations. The focus of this season is exploration, both at home and abroad. Senku's next goal is to figure out how and why the world has been petrified. However, during the preparations for this massive journey, Senku receives an eerie looping message from an unknown source. The message repeats, "Why?" Is whoever behind the petrification responsible for this message as well? Thanks to the help from the Kingdom of Science as well as newer members Ryusui and Francois, he embarks on a journey by ship with many key members to figure out this petrification phenomena's origins. The group come across a new island filled with inhabitants. However, those people have an ace up their sleeve, a petrification weapon which petrifies most of Ryusui's crew. With a lack of resources, manpower, and unknown variables, how will Senku and the remaining members of the Kingdom of Science prevail? Never underestimate what Senku can do, even with his oftentimes limited resources. Dr. Stone can do nothing wrong in my eyes. The story does a great job balancing comedy, science, conflicts, and problem solving. Every time you think Senku creates something that seems impossible, he one-ups it time and time again. Growing up as a kid, I hated science, but Dr. Stone makes science fun for me. Dr. Stone is yet another anime that's in my top 10, and Season 3 Part 1 gets a perfect score of a 10 out of 10. Finally, the best anime I watched in 2023 is Link Click Season 2. Yes, the best anime I watched isn't even technically an anime, but a donghua or Chinese animation. I don't care though. Donghwas are usually lumped together with anime, so I'm including it in this list. For those who do not know what Link Click is about, it follows Cheng Xiaoxi and Lu Guang, who possess superpowers. Together, they can enter photos experiencing the past through the client's eyes. They can use this power to gather intel or give their clients peace of mind. Cheng Xiaoxi is the diver, being able to relive past moments of others, while Lu Guang acts as a guide or surveillance, making sure he's saying and doing the right things. One massive role that Lu Guang repeatedly reminds Cheng Xiaoxi of is the fact that no matter what, they should never alter the past, since it could affect the present. Link Click Season 1 ended on a massive cliffhanger, and I wanted to know what the outcome of it will be. Lu Guang is hospitalized with a severe injury, Cheng Xiaoxi is in massive trouble with the police, and the actual villain is able to escape with their true identity still a mystery. Will Lu Guang survive, and what is the villain actually after? I loved season 1, giving it a 10 out of 10, which places it in my top 10 anime prior to season 2. It is yet another series where I was worried about its future. I thought the villain's power would not be explained very well, and there's no way the duo of Lu Guang and Cheng Xiaoxi could stop them. Just like with Vinland Saga, I should have had some faith in the series. While the first season focused on jumping back into the past with small jobs from clients, the focus in season 2 is figuring out who the villain or villains are and what they are after. There's far more sleuth work while they also try staying alive. Link Click knows how to build up suspense, always ending each episode with some type of cliffhanger that ropes you into watching the next episode. It's also fantastic at throwing curveballs at the viewer, leaving you never able to actually know what will happen next. The biggest bombshell was thrown at you at the end of season 2. To be honest, there's really multiple twists at the end that I was not expecting, involving a character dying and another character not following a rule. I don't want to get into it because Link Click should be a far more popular show than it is, and hopefully because of this video, you will go watch it yourself if you haven't already. Link Click Season 2 proves why I have it in my top 10 anime of all time, fully deserving of a 10 out of 10. That's the end of the list of my top 10 anime I watched in 2023. Tell me your list in the comments and if there are any overlaps with mine. I don't really have a goal set for how much anime I'll watch in 2024, but I'm pretty certain it'll be nowhere near as much as I did in 2023. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.